Not want to get caught.
Well, it is cold here in Ontario. I got some running around to do this morning, so unfortunately, I couldn't go with the horses. And I wanted to actually there's a couple that maybe were ready to train in 3 minutes or today, but it's not that the track's bad. The track's decent. The problem is a lot of these horses don't have corks on. So for those of you that don't know, you put the normal horseshoes like you see on every horse on the horses, but in the winter you need these little spikes on the bottom. They're made from the boreum and they're welded on the shoe, and they're called corks, and it helps the horse grip into the track. And if you don't have those on, obviously, and you have a slippery surface, it makes it very difficult to operate. So a lot of these babies don't have corks on, so you just got to go a little easy with them. Certainly can't train them. There's Roy Hill. Looks good. So that's what we're doing today, just putting miles into them. I saw a couple of our clients that showed up to jog. You picked the weirdest times to come. It is cold today, so everybody's getting their horses jogged up. I figured I'd get through this video. I got to run around here for a little bit. Got a couple of meetings I have to go to that I put on last minute. And then I got to prepare because tomorrow I'm speaking at a symposium on equine entrepreneurship, I guess is what it's geared towards, symposium at the University of Guelph, which is pretty cool. I did a couple of seminars there before. I don't know if they were really seminars. Panel talks, and I guess that's what it is again tomorrow. There's 3 or 4 speakers and I'm one of them, so that should be so that should be really cool tomorrow. Looking forward to that a lot. We had a lot of horses racing this week. We had some good results, we had a few bad results. The one bad result obviously was, I guess, my fault. I was a little unhappy with the way I drove Cabernet. You know, when you're dealing with horses, and here's the thing, as I said in the video the other day, when you're racing at Flamborough or London or any of these small tracks and you get a lot of snow, inevitably for whatever reason a portion of the field doesn't have corks on. It just happens every year, that first freeze, that first snow. And when I got to Flamborough, our horses were corked up. When I got to Flamborough, I looked at the program. There was a lot of bad horses in there, and I'm saying to myself, I just want to get over in front of the bad horses and get some sort of a trip. And it ended up there was no parking. You know, it was either front or back, and I opted for the front with her. I felt that she got a legitimate enough breather that she should have been all right, but then she just felt like she was struggling. And that's the other thing about it's not just an icy track, it's the snow. And some horses, just their gait and the way they are, they just struggle through it. And it was a bad race for her, and mostly my fault. So we'll look to rebound with Cabernet. She drew the outside again 7, but she won't be headed to the front this week. She drew the outside 7 at Flamborough on Wednesday. We did have some good results. Trafalgar was fantastic. I had a couple of people ask me, why would you win by 22 lengths with her? Well, it's simple. I wasn't after a gargantuan win. I was after a training mile for a filly going into a stake race. She's going to have to pace in 59 or 2 minutes, maybe a little better depending on the track, this Tuesday and then in the final. And I don't want to win in 2-4 with her and then ask her to pace in 58 her next start. It just made no sense. Going into the race, I wanted to go a mile in 59 and do it the right way. She went a mile in 58 and 3 and did it a very, very good way. So, whoa, this horse is kicking. What is this? Goodness. Oh my. Horse gets kicked. Shall right now. All I wanted to do was go a good mile in 59. I did. So that was my plan. It turned out they went in 2-4. Okay. But, you know, she's a gold filly racing against mediocre fall, winter, maiden pacers. So it's not that shocking. But I still wanted to, oh, geez, she's acting. I know exactly who that is.
Who is it?
That's that So Surreal filly. She's a bad little bugger sometimes. So anyway, Trafalgar was fantastic for a filly that had an injury. Hi, buddy boy. For a filly that had an injury. Ollie, don't be silly. For a filly that had an injury at the start of the summer, a pretty significant one. Not significant in the sense that she'll re-injure, because she won't. but significant in the fact that if we hadn't caught it, she may have been in peril. And just a great job by Harry's barn and the veterinarians to catch the issue she had. She had a little line in her tibia. Now, a horse's tibia would be like our femur, so you can only imagine how big that bone is. I don't really know how it happened, but nevertheless, she's healed now. We put her in the stall for 3 weeks, put her in the pool for 3 weeks, and then Harry did a fantastic job getting her ready for the races. Very happy with what I saw. She's 6-5 on Tuesday. For all intents and purposes, I think she'll probably win on Tuesday and then be a contender in the final. So Trafalgar did well. We gave Marzank Hanover the week off. Now Marzank Hanover is solely owned by a client, a friend of ours, Daryl Newbigging, and Kevin has just done such a great job managing this filly. Her knees bother her as she grows, and Kevin has just been zeroed in on keeping her sound and really paying attention to her. And he'd said after the first leg, I don't want to race her 3 weeks in a row on an icy, snowy half-mile track. She's in the final. Can we give her a week off? I'll train her at Mohawk, and then she'll be ready for the final. Smart move. Just a real smart move by Kevin, and hopefully Marzank Hanover has a good run in the final. A win gets her in the final, so she's in no matter what. Another horse who had a fantastic week. Been a long time since we said this, right? Oh So Pine. Carmen has him good. He was good when he came back, and I can see the problem now. So sometimes in horses' ankles, front ankles mostly, almost every time, you'll see them form a little calcium. It's called an oscillate, and it's on the front of the ankle. It can be really painful, and I think this ankle's been bothering him since his 2-year-old year. He had some odd starts where he was on a line in a weird place, and we had injected his ankle too when he was 2, and again when he was 3, and he struggled all year. He just didn't have that pop to him, and what we did was when we sent him out to Illinois, I think that time in between stopping in Ohio, going to Illinois, racing in Illinois, it really started to solidify and really set. And when I've seen him when he come back here from Illinois, it was more pronounced, the obvious oscillate on the front of the ankle. And what that means is it's now cooled down and set and not bothering him as much. Now you can maintain it a lot easier. And I think what you see is between that and the curb, Ollie Bear, stop, buddy. Between that and the curb, that we were working on. What is this guy doing? Between that and the curb that we had cryoed in Illinois, he's just come back around. Now, would I say he's the same as he was as a 2-year-old? No, but he's getting close. He's getting close to being obviously confident. Jesus, they're feeling good. It's another one. Well and Down was going to give it to Disco. But he's definitely feeling better, and you can see that in his racing. He jogged on the Monday, and then to come back at a distance race on Thursday was really quite a lot to ask. And he finished up well, finished second, and raced really well from being in traffic. So it looks like Oh So Pine's going to have a really good winter. White Tiger the other day, he got him to leave. He got away third, and this is the second week in a row we ended up first over. He came hard with him, and it looked like he just over-trotted himself in the last turn. I think a little more conservative, slow burn first over. He's a winner. You just gotta, I think you gotta protect him a little more in the race, and Mike's done a great job getting him off the gate. Mike Wilder, he knows the horse now. I think I'd like to see him either get away and sit and wait till the head of the lane, or end up in the flow. But the first over grind, he's just not, that's not him, so to speak, just yet. So I think White Tiger's well on his way. Obviously a little setback the other day, but he did leave. He did have a vicious turn of foot down the backstretch, and it looked like he was going to put away the leader, and then he just rolled off stride. So I think you just need to protect him a little bit more. Now Stonebridge Simba, he raced bad the other day, and I decided we were going to bring him home. John had mentioned to me that it looks like he's blowing an abscess out of his foot, so that's good. We're going to rest him up here, maybe race him a couple of times in the winter. We'll rest him, bring him back, and then decide where we're going with him. Does he fit here? Will we send him to Illinois, or will he go back to Pennsylvania, or even Ohio if we want to? I mean, we obviously have enough affiliate trainers that really it's just a matter of looking at which jurisdiction we want to send Stonebridge Simba to. I think he can compete anywhere, and I think he will compete anywhere we send him. And yes, just another tremendous mile out of this horse. Now, he didn't collect any money in the matron, but he raced against the very best 3-year-olds for the most part. Now, there wasn't Green Shoe there, but Chimpanzee was there, and raced against the best. Finished 7th, trotted 152 and 3. Just a tremendous mile. I see that Irv had entered him at Yonkers next week. So, come on in, Marvin. So, Irv had entered, jump in. Irv had entered him in, sorry, come on in. Had entered him in Yonkers next week. So, Yes is going to be racing at Yonkers. The world record holder on a half-mile track will be making his way back to a half-mile track next week. Somebody said, when are you going to rest him? I'll let him tell me when we're going to rest him. I mean, 3-year-olds heading into their 4-year-old season, I don't want to race in the heat of the summer against the Bearcats. So, like we did with Cruising in Style, who we'll talk about in a minute, all I want to do is allow him to finish off his 3-year-old season, whether that leaks into his 4-year-old season or not, that's fine. Shut him down, let him grow up, bring him back in lots of time, and I'd really just like to have him ready for... maintenance man. I really just want to have him ready for late July, first part of August of his 4-year-old season. So theoretically, in a perfect world, we would race him right up through the end of March, and then rest him April, May, bring him back June, July, have him ready for the end of July, first part of August, and that would allow us to start moving him around for the fall of his 4-year-old season. You have to understand that transition from a 3-year-old into a 4-year-old, sophomore stakes season into the aged company, is a massive jump. For a horse like Yes, who's probably going to end up with a couple $100,000 on his card by the time it's all said and done this season, he's already over 200 now, I think. I think he is over 200. Yeah, he is. Yeah. So a lot of money made, a lot of wins, not a lot of places to race him. He's going to have to go right into the deep end of the pool, but we'd like that pool to be thinned out as much as possible. So at that point, we'd pick stakes that are off the beaten path, and we would try and avoid the aged horse as much as we can. I think Yes is going to be a tremendous 4-year-old and an even better 5-year-old. This is a horse that I think will play a major role in the stable's development on multiple stages moving forward. So a horse like Yes is a horse that we are going to hang our hat on. I truly believe that Oso Pine is going to come back to his top form. White Tiger is going to come back to his top form. And we have a number of 2-year-olds coming up also. So it's been a good fall. It looks like it's going to be a good winter. I'm looking at the babies of 2020 going right now, and very happy with what I see. As I mentioned a minute ago, Cruising in Style, he raced last night from the 7-hole. They took him back. He didn't get any money, and then somebody said after that they were upset that they took him back. Listen, this outside post at Yonkers, it's a graveyard. You know, you just can't go out of there with those horses. Now, I suppose we could have burned him up, made the front, got beat up, finished 4th, collected a little check. But how much did that take away from the end of his year, the end of his 4-year-old season into his 5-year-old season? You know, I'm glad once in a while you do got to protect the horse. And I know they're betting on races, and I'm the first one to say win at all costs, win all the time. But at the same time, how much does chewing him up as a long shot from the 7-hole and leaving with him going to accomplish? Probably not a whole lot. You have very little chance of winning when you take him back at Yonkers on a half-mile track, but when you get parked or get burned up, not only did you not win and maybe collected the same amount of money, but you've taken a lot out of the tank for the future for the horse. So I don't really know what went into taking him right back to 7th, but at the same time, I am glad that they protect the horse once in a while best they can. I'm not saying, hey, don't win. Hey, take him back and don't try. I'm sure that's nobody's saying that. But at the same time, use your head. You know, you're never going to pick a fight with a big guy at a bar, not unless you want to get your head beat in. And when we're racing horses, you have to know who you're in with. And the class he was in, the position he had, coming off, you know, a couple of tough trips, I think they probably did the right thing. And Andrew was smart, and so was the driver to take care of the horse. So I'm sure Cruising in Style will reward all of us well in the future because of that. What else? Maintenance Man qualified. I was happy with just watching him jog here. It's just over there. Very happy with the way Maintenance Man went. I found that I'm pretty sure I know where a couple little holes are, and we're going to patch them up and put him in to go. I want to know the best place to race him. Actually, somebody came up to me last night and said, hey, he's got no money made his last 4. Why don't you just run him over to Batavia, where he fits in Elmers and nothing, race him there for a start or two, and then bring him back with some confidence? That's smart. That's a smart plan, and I think that actually might be the only hiccup. There will be how many of our clients are licensed in New York that own Maintenance Man. That could be a little bit of a hiccup. So I'll have to look into that. Obviously, if we got to get a bunch of people licensed to go to New York, we're not going to do that. But we'll see. We'll see. Very, very smart plan though, using the whole field, so to speak. If we can have a good 2-3 weeks in Pennsylvania, Ohio, or New York, wherever it might be, we have the ability to do that. That was smart thinking. So, Maintenance Man qualified well. I see him on the track today. He looks well on the track today. We'll see what we do with him next week. And then a lot of people ask me, Easton Ivy, why is it just owned by Anthony McDonald? Why doesn't the stable own it? Honestly, when I bought Easton Ivy, I bought him, I'm not going to say as a favor, but one of our clients and a number of our clients, 3 of our clients that own the horse, were looking to move him. He was a maiden 2-year-old. I said, nah, whatever, that's fine. I bought him, and I really didn't know if he was any good. And after watching last night, I'm still not sure if he's any good, but he finished second. And if people in the stable want into him, that's fine. I think I paid $8,000 American for him. I've had him almost 2 months. I probably have what's 8,000 American into Canadian, Marvin? 11 grand.
More in America.
I'd say what, around 11 grand?
Yeah.
10, 5, 11 grand. So I probably got about 13,000 into him right now, Canadian. So if somebody wants in, I don't care. It's fine. 10-4? 10-4 and then 2 months training. So, no, 14 grand into him. If anybody wants in, I'm happy to let them in. Certainly, I wasn't trying to hoard the animal. To be honest, I forgot about him. We bought him in the middle of stake season. We got him ready, qualified him. James said he was so-so. He made a break last night in the first turn. Now everybody made a break in the first turn at London in that race, it seemed. He come back on and finished second, beat 3/4 of a length or length, and actually raced decent. But what are we going to do with him? I don't know. I mean, when I look at all the horses in the barn, we go in certain waves, right? We had 3 horses in to go in the sale starting next week. 2 of them are going to be going to the sale. And when it comes, hi buddy boy, hey. And when it goes to the rest of them, when it goes to the rest of them, the horses that look like they're not going to do, whether they be, as we sold some yearlings last year at the start of the year, I don't see any that need to go just yet. None that even concern me at this moment, whether it be the yearlings, the 2-year-olds coming back, or the horses that are racing older than that. If they're not going to do, they're not going to do, and they'll probably find their way into the January sale. Does that mean that's where Easton Ivy's headed? That'll be up to Easton Ivy. He's got quite a ways between now and the January sale to prove that he wants to be a member of the stable, or he just wants to be a member of the racing community in some form or another. So that's a scoop on Easton Ivy. It wasn't that I was trying to hoard the horse. I forgot about him, and then I really didn't know what he'd be like, and what's the point of putting him on the stable Alpha Qualifier in 2.5 at Mohawk? Where are you going to race him? But he raced good last night. First time ever racing on a half-mile track. He did make a break in the first turn. First time with probably corks on in his life. I don't know how much cork they need in Indiana to train down, but it doesn't sound like a whole lot. What's the weather like in Indiana in the winter? Don't know? I don't know if he ever had corks on in his life. So last night would have been the first time ever for corks. Would have been the first time ever on a half-mile track. The second time he'd ever had a set of trotting hobbles on, and he did look okay. So that's that. That's all the horses. That's this week. What did we race last night? Our Vecca was poor last night, but as I said to everybody, you need to have horses. Horses are structured animals, right? And when you have they're not like thoroughbreds where you can have their schedule scattered all over the place. And our Vecca racing 14 days, 11 days, 9 days, 12 days, 6 days. It's just not going to work. And we need to get her in a schedule where she can race, full time. So I think that was with her, and then obviously our boy Marvin here with me. Our boy Final Answer injured himself last night. We're going to get him looked at in a little bit to see the extent of that. He was in the sale, but he's not going now. We'll see if we can patch him up. Just a tough horse. I always had people ask me, why do you keep certain horses around like Final Answer for a year? And it's because I have the utmost respect for the horses that take their job as seriously as I do, and horses that work really hard and want to succeed. I have a deep-seated respect for horses like that, and Final Answer is just a tough horse, very, very tough horse, loves his work, and and that's why I stuck behind him, and I will. So we're going to get him looked at and make sure he's okay. So that's what we're doing for the rest of the morning. I got a few little things to run around and do. Got to drop him off, get him looked at, and then come back here. I got to meet a couple of people at the farm after. Look at that little guy there. So that's about it. We got lots of jogging on today. -9. Marvin, you want to get some gloves on and go out and jog a few? I can get a couple ready for you.
No.
You sure?
Too cold for me.
So it's
Way
too
too
cold for
okay.
me right now too. So that's it for who's this? That's Chris. That's it for your weekend video. We have Casanova's Jewel racing tonight. We have, who's the other horse? Totally Tactor is racing tonight. Brave World's racing tonight. And then Sunday we got a couple of more horses racing. And then Monday, sorry I said Tuesday earlier, Monday is Trafalgar at London. Anyway, for Ollie Bear, me, and my man Marvin, all the way from Michigan. How long did it take you to get here?
About 3 hours.
All the way from Michigan, 3 hours away. We're all done for the day. I'll be back in a little bit. You have ball hockey today, you're right. I'll be back in, that gentleman over there brought you some hockey sticks too. That guy right over there, Chris, he brought you some hockey sticks to cut off and you can use them. So, for everybody, that's it for the opening video. I'll be back in a little bit with some reports and all the stables, all the 2-year-olds, and all the yearlings. Take care.